The following clips are from Instagram, YouTube, and Telegram. The opinions shared are not necessarily my own. These videos and images are for educational purposes and to build context. Viewer discretion is highly advised.
We had the Negro Tech software downloaded, the Nigalink was fully installed, and the Fent reactor on standby. It was finally time to power him on.
I will never forget the first time he powered on. I had put all of Meta's investors' funds into George Droid's VR target acquisition software. Everything was on the line.
Elon flipped the switch, and George Droid almost immediately started draining the Fent reactor. We had not planned for the fentanyl consumption to be this high.
I really don't think y'all understand how bad it is in the southeast right now. We have towns that don't exist anymore. Chimney Rock is gone. The city of Asheville is cut off from the world. This is not an exaggeration. All the bridges leading into the city have been washed away. They have no food, no power, no water, no internet, no cell service. They don't even have a radio. It's a complete dead zone. No one knows what's going on in there. I don't think I'm being dramatic when I say that this is a Hurricane Katrina level event. There was a woman in my town who called for an ambulance, and the ambulance got stranded. And they were stranded for like 24 hours, and to my knowledge, the patient didn't make it. People are dying. They're still dying. I've been running the generator for the last 3 days, and we're starting to run out of gas. And this is on Highway 123 heading from Ainsley to Greenville. And this was a 1 mile long line to get gas because they were the only people we knew around that had gas left. We got all the way to the end and they were out. They had no gas. We checked every gas station in Pickens and Easley and Liberty, nothing. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of gas, I'll tell you that much. Try to steal some from my car maybe to keep my food cold, but even then, I don't know. This is the I-40 bridge, from Tennessee to North Carolina. It's gone. It don't exist no more either. We got people dying out here. Man, we need help. We need help.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President? Okay. What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
Depending what storm you're talking about. They get everything they need. And they're very happy across the board.
Yo.
Well, you're going to have to just excuse my appearance because we have no power, we have no running water, but I'm just so pissed off that I've got to make this clear. We got a notification from TEMA. I'm guessing that's FEMA for Tennessee. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's supposed to be the disaster relief people, but they were like, do not donate your time. We don't want you to donate time unless we ask for you, and we don't want you to donate stuff to other people. You need to just donate money and stuff to us and get your instructions from us and listen to us. What? And then they said yesterday, we don't go into areas that the roads are not easily accessible. What? You are the disaster relief people. Like, that is your job, to go into the areas that are hit by disaster and provide relief. Not to just go to the easy area and sit and wait for the people that are in the disaster area to be able to come to you. The roads that we do have were cleared by the locals, and you have to have It's just beyond me. So, and you have us all messed up. If you think you're going to come here and bark orders at us and then expect the people just to give you the money and us trust that you're going to try to take care of us when you don't go into areas that are not easily accessible. What? Like, this is Cott County, girl. So, donate to our local churches because they will make sure that the people that are need it will get it. And you need to just, while we appreciate what help you're trying to provide, I don't think you understood the assignment because it's not to just go to one location in hopes that the people in the disaster area can make it to you. So just sit back and watch and we'll show you how it's done, but we're not going to stop. So please and thank you.
This comes as the Department of Homeland Security claims FEMA is running out of disaster relief funds. Now, critics are calling out the Biden-Harris administration for having used FEMA money to resettle migrants. The agency spent around $690 million this year to, they say, enable non-federal entities to offset allowable costs incurred for services associated with non-citizen migrant arrivals in their communities. Now, we found that statement on FEMA's website. And FEMA says the grant money for migrant resettlement is a completely separate program approved and also funded by Congress.
Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants, many of whom should not be in our country. Now we have a horrific disaster in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. And the Harris-Biden administration says they don't have any money because they spent it all on illegal migrants.
Well, on Wednesday, Vice President Harris visited Augusta, Georgia to announce storm victims could apply for $750, which could take FEMA around 10 days just to drop that money into their bank accounts.
Today, we need to talk about Hurricane Helene. But first, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification. My name is Wolf, and you're watching the Wolf channel, spelled VVVLF. With less than 400 followers, your support is greatly appreciated and helps make it possible for me to keep making these videos. I don't make money from this at all yet. On Tuesday, September 24th through Sunday, September 29th, 2024, a historic hurricane pummeled the East Coast and left devastation throughout. Destroying the homes of many and taking the lives of over 200 people, the body count is still rising. But first, I have to open with saying I don't necessarily agree with all of those clips I just showcased. Are they all true? Maybe, maybe not. I do think some of them have to be true though. As for, where did you find these from, Wolf? I found them all mostly on Instagram, but the more radical ones were from Telegram, and the news footage came from YouTube. And, so why are you showing them then, Wolf? You're gonna spread disinformation! I'm showing you these clips to highlight the fact that America is the most divided I have ever seen it. We are less than a month out from a national election and several millions of people without proper documentation because it was lost in the floods, or citizens who are mail-in voters who now don't have mail service and are at risk of not voting, or have no transportation or phone service or voting stations. The list goes on. How many people will not have the ability to cast their vote? And that's without mentioning the obvious risk of unaliving out there with limited help and limited resources, while resources are being withheld by FEMA, allegedly. Oh, and also, how close to a civil war much of America currently feels. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but let's be real. The idea of a civil war has fully entered the modern zeitgeist as we inch closer to 2025, and a new presidency in the most powerful country on earth. People have become more divided than ever, and I think most people, even those who aren't paying close attention, can agree on that statement. For reality not to collapse on itself, there are a lot of questions that demand answers. Is the simulation really this broken? Am I really this retarded? Why is a talking dog telling me to shoot Ronald Reagan? Joke's on the dog because I realize that's a copycat talking dog. Look into that. Anyway, the serious questions everyday American people have right now are, how will we afford to fix this? How can't we afford to help struggling Americans while we simultaneously fund illegal immigrant families? Why won't Jodie Foster answer my letters? Other than the last one, these are not hyperbolic questions to ask. While asylum seekers are granted $2,225 of federally funded money upon entry into the U.S., and United States citizens are being granted $750 per family for hurricane damage relief after losing literally everything. In a lot of cases, even the land their house stood on has washed away in flash floods and mudslides. Then pair this with the hyper-divided times we are living in, and it begs one to ask the horrifying question, what happens when 30+ million people are at risk of not voting? Even if people end up being able to vote, by some miracle, if the election doesn't pan out how they expect, will they believe the results? I fear that on both sides, both parties will accuse one another of rigging the election regardless of who wins it. And so what happens then? When two political leaders couldn't agree in 2023, what happened to South Sudan? Look into that. What happened to Lahaina? Everyone kind of just stopped talking about it. Rumors were that a bunch of outside companies came in trying to buy up the land. Fact checkers say it's not true, but other fact checkers say it is true. And like I said, everyone kind of just stopped talking about it. That was only one island in the state of Hawaii. The devastation of Hurricane Helene is more far-reaching. Spanning from Georgia to North Carolina and covering 6 states, millions of people are without power. As of the time of me writing this, we are 31 days from the election. How many of those millions of homeowners actually have mortgages and don't even own their properties yet, and don't have flood insurance? Allegedly, to even get the $750 of FEMA relief money, people have to be living without home insurance. And even if they do have home insurance, it doesn't cover flooding in those areas. So it's blockading people from accessing the $750, allegedly. And what happens when they have now lost everything they had and can't repay their debts? Then the banks take the land. And what happens next? I live in Montana, one of the least populated states outside of Alaska. We have massive affordable housing apartment complexes going up, yet we don't have a shortage of homes with a population of just over 1 million people. There's a building going up fast as hell right by my health clinic that, I shit you not, is the size of an Amazon warehouse. So who is it for? The exact piece of land it's on was farmland only recently. There's only one logical conclusion of who it could be for. It's for people who aren't from Montana, obviously, and I'll grant that a lot of people are moving to Montana. But they're the ones buying homes and raising the cost of homes for local families that are actually from here. So maybe those massive new housing developments are for when the residents are priced out of their homes, or maybe it's for something more sinister, because we all know it's not for American homeless people, or they wouldn't be homeless. I think we can all safely assume those units are for migrants and struggling Americans who've been booted from their homes in the communities they were raised in. Now, Montana didn't get hit by a motherfucking catastrophic hurricane, but multiple states on the East Coast just did. And I'm asking you bluntly, what is going to happen with their land? And when more Americans lose everything, while more asylum seekers gain everything, how long until a match gets dropped and the powder keg actually explodes? And what will that actually look like? I don't think any of us are ready for what is coming.
Shocking news from South Sudan. The United Nations says hundreds of civilians in the city of Bentiu were massacred last week. Many lost their lives after taking shelter inside a mosque, thinking it was safe. but they were trapped as rebel forces seized control of the town from government troops. A UN official described the scene saying piles and piles of bodies were left behind after the shootings inside the mosque, in the hospital, and on the streets. The attack targeted certain ethnic groups and may have been sparked by radio calls for revenge.